electronics my whole life. My dad was an electronic engineer who developed invented it. My dad actually invented the solid state ignition for your vehicle. Believe it or not.
That's pretty cool.
No, he was pretty dumb because you know what? He was so happy that a company took the information and gave him a couple $100 that, for his invention, for the schematics of it. My dad could have been a multi-millionaire, but no, but he wasn't a businessman. He was just happy he invented something.
So what you're telling me is that they stole this information.
They stole it. And the biggest that, it was stolen from him. But I don't believe Bob Lazar anymore because we don't have the technology, especially back 20 years ago, to back engineer one thing off a UFO. I just don't buy it. And Maccabee is not the only one I've heard it from. I've heard it from other scientists out there. Said the same thing. It's impossible. Because if you don't...
Even Werner von Braun said that the technology that they had been, quote, given, I think that has some credence.
I think what we were given...
I think they were given technology. I don't think that it was necessarily back-engineered.
No, I don't... Yeah, the back-engineer part, at least on most of it, well, at least on the UFO part, I don't think we could have done it. I don't. And now I think they probably shared us technology again. Hey, give us technology. We'll give you technology. You give us some people in exchange. I will say this because our time's up. The last mutilation up in Oregon here a couple of weeks ago. I just want to say this to some of the listeners. I got a mass amount of emails. A mass amount when I said this. But think about it. You think this mutilation has been going on for many, many years. And since they started recording the mutilations of animals, like cattle, there's been over 5,000 cases. And it was a lot before they even started keeping track of it. And they don't even keep track of all of it, okay? It's only a small percentage is being tracked. Why would they have to sit there and experiment on cattle? I don't believe the government. Some people say, oh, that's the government doing it. No, the government would have their own cattle and experiment on them. They don't need to go to farmers and ranchers to experiment. But think about this. In the Orient, certain parts of animals on our planet, like the penis, for example, of a bull, is worth $5,000. Now, think about it. An alien race might have a fetish for certain things, from certain animals. So maybe they're coming here and harvesting animals for certain things, the same way they are harvesting humans. Maybe.
Gary, can I intercede a little bit?
Yeah, please do.
Okay. Harken back to Zecharia Sitchin, and when he talked about the Anunnaki basically genetically modifying a species that was on this planet to make Homo sapiens sapiens. Now, you find the same thing in the Old Testament in Genesis, and I'm not going to get into that right now because we don't have time, but the point is that there are a lot of people, including me, that believe that this structure that your soul and your spirit inhabit, this gingerbread man, if you will, Homo sapiens sapiens, was a genetically modified entity. Now, if that happened, who knows how many millions of years ago, because if you read people like some of the newer archaeologists, Michael Cremo, for example, who believes that happened also, then what's to say that they're not using animal parts, human parts, whatever, using the technology that they have and the genetic manipulation that they have to create a hybrid being?
Well, it was very possible too. But I just still think about whatever the parts is that I would think they would have enough from the amount of people who are gone missing. But on cattle, they could have had enough where they could have even had their own cattle. That's the part it gets me. I keep thinking about, some of these movies where, these aliens come down and it's sport to kill humans. I got a funny feeling maybe the sport might be to, take certain organs out of humans and cattle for something they need, and we just don't know what it's for. It could be for genetics, like you're talking about. It could be a delicacy we don't know, because we know supposedly they're supposed to be a race of aliens that love eating humans. So I have no idea at this point.
But next time I sit down for a platter of halibut cheeks, I'm never going to look at them the same way again.
Another theory, maybe they've been taking humans and taking stuff from us and animals because they need certain parts to use to sustain their existence here while they're here. I mean, that's just one plausible theory, and that would make more sense than, because think about it, if they got all these technologies, how many years they got to keep experimenting on us and animals?
And over and over.
Really. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think that they've been doing genetic manipulation on this planet for a very, very long time, for whatever reason.
Well, they sure haven't done a good job, Tom. I can say that.
Well, let me crack wise for just a second. Any entity that would put the sewer system next to the entertainment section, I don't know.
I have no idea, but I can say this. I remember in radio back when I did Top 40, which I only did it a couple shows because everything I've done pretty much has been talk radio. But I had this little bit I get. I had the background, sci-fi noise in the background, and I say, "Oh my God, Washington, D.C. has been invaded by aliens, and they only eat the brains of humans. But don't worry, they'll soon die because they only eat the brains of politicians, and they'll starve to death within 24 hours.
No nutrients.
That's a good point, and I think that what we should do is let that alien race know that politicians are the creme de la creme of filet mignon.
Oh, yeah. Better than snails.
Much.
Maybe a little caviar off the side.
A little, yeah. What do they call that? Escargot?
Yeah. I'm a me go, all right. Right when they serve it, or if I eat it.
Here to serve man.
Yeah. Well, or something.
Yeah.
Well, last thing I'm going to, because our show is almost up, I'm going to say this again. I was reading today. Japan is freaking out. Again? They're really now are down to the last, where are they going to put all this radiated water from the reactors that
Fukushima.
Yeah. And they said that they have no choice but to dump it in the Pacific Ocean, but not to worry. They figure it will kind of dissipate. I don't agree with that, because it's going to kill off a lot of sea life right off the bat. And what isn't, it's going to...
It only has a half-life of 10,000 years, Gary. What are you worried about?
Yeah, but I don't want to go to the store and buy salmon, right, and have it in the kitchen and turn the light off and it lights the kitchen up.
Yeah. It's going to give a whole new meaning to bioluminescence here eventually.
Absolutely.
Or have it have great big warts and cysts growing out of it and, sores off the side of the fish. That scares me. But, last week I was reading an article. Bears in Alaska are dying of hunger, starving to death.
They're not getting enough sustenance, no fish.
Yeah. And birds are dropping out of the sky with empty stomachs. It's scary what's going on right now. And if I swear to God, if they dump this radiated water into the Pacific Ocean, I don't know what we're going to do. I know then I'm not going to eat crab anymore. I'm not going to eat fish anymore.
We have a worldwide insect problem that the insect population is dying, and what do birds eat and what do bats eat, and we've got a major problem.
Oh yeah. And bees are they're trying to save the bees by creating new hives, but they're dying off. In logical sense, I was reading again, and I've brought this up on my show several times. the magnetic field is changing. That's why we're seeing strange birds flying in areas that have never flown before because they're lost. They don't know where to go. Homing pigeons are now the same thing. You let your homing pigeon out and it doesn't find its way back. Bees, the same thing. They leave the hive. They don't know how to find their way back.
I think the harmonics of the planet have changed, and they've done it on purpose. And remember that article that I sent you about them wanting to manipulate the atmosphere?
Oh, yeah.
So that they block out the sun?
Yeah. And I was also reading, and I brought it up on the show, was it last night or last week, James, about they're heating up the ionic sphere. Not with HARP anymore, but with high-powered lasers. Why is they doing this?
And why are they just now telling
like something out of a sci-fi horror movie?
I don't know. You got chemtrails, which they deny, but I actually know some people that, was in the military.
I've seen them for years.
Yeah, they've been dumping that out, and some of it has been analyzed. So I know it's stuff in there that it shouldn't be at all, and that it is affecting even us. I think maybe it's going to have something to do later on with population control. A lot of strange things going on. I tell you this. Now, this is my own feeling. If I had it over again, I would have never got a flu shot at my age. Just telling you that. And
I've never got one.
I stopped getting them like 20 years ago.
Well, the last time, about 8 months ago, my doctor said, "Oh, you're a senior citizen now. You need the super vaccine." And I go, "What's the difference?" He goes, "It's 4 to 5 times stronger." And you know what? They gave it to me. The next day, I was sick. And then
I got deathly ill.
Yeah.
Deathly ill the last time I got a flu shot.
So did I. And then my arm hurt for weeks from that shot. But it may, I hate to say it, I don't trust anything. I just really think, I've known people who have never gotten flu shots and never gotten sick in their life. I've known people that had flu shots and they end up coming down with the flu and dying. So it's scary out there, guys. It's a lot of things, isn't it? But again, we're down the last couple minutes. Where can they find your music, Tom?
You can find it on Spotify. You can find it on iTunes, Napster, Deezer, Google Play. Any number of TikTok is the newest one. Any place that sells digital music has Metatron Power and Light. Great.
You still need to get some CDs because there's some people out there that are diehards, like truckers.
You know
for
what?
example.
I'll tell you what. I'm gonna work out a deal. I'm working on it now. We've been really, really busy because of the holidays and Oktoberfest and Halloween, but I will make a concerted effort to get that done, okay?
Yeah, and you know what? You could certainly put it up on our website where they could buy it directly from you and get it in a CD form. Hey, Tom, it's always a pleasure talking to you, and keep those emails coming, please.
Hey, listen, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it, and thank you for that wonderful website. The entire band loves it, and they appreciate it, and they appreciate your show. So keep up the good work, and if there's anything that I can ever do for you, Gary, send me an email, give me a call. I'm in your corner.
Okay, my friend. You take care.
You take care, too. James, you take care.
All right, buddy.
Good night, my friend.
Good night.
Well, anyway, tomorrow we got a great guest on. You know who we have, or I bet you don't even remember.
Let's see, what's tomorrow? Is it Dave?
Dave Edmonds, about his UFO abductions. We have a lot of people on about UFOs, and you know why? Because it's a hot subject right now, and I'm trying to have the best guest in ufology on the show. So we got some major people coming up.
You got some big major people with some big shows and brand new material that they've never come out with. So looking forward to it.
Well, James, till tomorrow, you have a great one.
All right. Bye-bye.
We'll catch everybody tomorrow. You're listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio.
thirst for some significance.